easy when it went happy. Same place, Murali End. Sri Lanka cricket, we go resident. So tell a friend.
Welcome to Murali End. My name's Mark Machado. I'm joined by my cousin Dominic. I'm in Colombo. We minutes. We're very late today because I was actually at the game. I think Estelle's still in the press conference. We've had to try and get this going. Should presumably join us shortly. It's been a sad day for us, though, right, Dom?
Yeah, a rough day. Again, it felt a bit like the India match where we seemed at multiple points to play well and put ourselves in the game, but we just weren't able to finish it off. So disappointing. You would have liked to see that. You like to see the girls really take the momentum they had at some of those points in the innings and really push forward with it and turn a good game into a close run victory, but they just haven't been able to do it. Quite frankly, just a little bit gutted for them and how it went, because I think they'll feel that after these 3 games, yes, they have 1 point, and maybe that's one more point than they actually expected, but they were in with a chance in both of those matches and couldn't quite do it.
I think the frustrating thing for me today, as someone who's in the ground, was that I felt we could have easily gotten a result today. Like, I feel like, like I did against India, you kind of feel like it's 90% loaded. First big mistake of the day, which we didn't quite realise at the time, was dropping that Shiva, right? She goes on to score big. You take those, you take those runs out of it, and it's just like it would have been a much tighter game. Then on top of all that, Sophie Eccleston's bowling like she's primarily at the Catarama. It's like, what is going on here? We kind of like, I kind of think actually they did actually, because ordinarily when it all goes wrong, you kind of go, why did we let it go that bad? And you know, I watched it from the stands, so I didn't watch it on TV, so I wasn't able to kind of watch the wickets over and over again endlessly like they do normally. But I felt like a lot of those balls were actually really quite good balls, and actually for large parts of it, we did try and just play her out. But it's hard not to focus on that early mistake, which is the newest point. Catches when matches dropped them easy and the girl scored a century. It's hard to pinpoint that as the first moment the game starts to really get away from us, right?
And I think also, even if we set that aside, the ground fielding was poor at times. There were maybe 20 to 25 runs just given that shouldn't have been given up. And again, maybe easing the pressure. I thought the unit bowled really, really well. I thought, obviously, Inoka Ranawira took 3 for 33, but that could have been, 5 for 25 with a little bit tighter fielding, some better catching, and things of that nature. So that was, she bowled her heart out. She was really, really good, really impressive. And I want to shout out Ranawira, someone who we thought 12 months ago was really on the outs of this team, right? She was dropped and we thought, okay, that's it, she's probably done for her Sri Lanka cricket career, but she's come back. She's a top wicket taker in this tournament right now, even though she's only played 2 games. Fantastic work by Inoka, and I think if we just backed her up a little bit more, if we just backed her up a little bit more in the field, we could have held them to 210, 220. And and if they held them to 210, 220, I think we're talking about a different match.
Yeah, I saw Estelle at the innings break, and I was meshing into the Murali End group, and I was quite confident. I thought, like, we can chase this, get a bit of a crowd behind it. It was amazing to see people pouring in when Chamari was batting as well, while the girls were doing well. When Hassani and Harshta looked quite sad. There was people pouring into the stadium, and it kind of started to there was an atmosphere starting to really bubble up and build. And then the minute the wickets started to tumble and the Parahera started, it was like, oh no, this is not good. This is not good.
I mean,
like
this is I think Hassani batted quite well. But, they were 95 for 1 in the 20th over, and that's when Eccleston comes on. And the first shot that Hussein Pereira plays is a slog. This is the number one bowler in the world, and you're in a tight chase where it's not like the run rate was demanding that she do that. They're going at just under 5 and over. Target is 5 and over. Just keep on doing what you're doing, even if she only goes for 20 runs in her 10 overs. You can still overcome that. But giving her wickets, that's what turned the match, at least in my opinion. And I think that Hassani wicket really kind of changed everything. And then Harshita got out the next over to Eccleston, again trying to sort of paddle her, and it got a top edge. And so I think if they were to kind of look at this match again, right, they would say how they played Eccleston, because I think they wanted to take her on. A lot of sweeps came out, but they just couldn't connect. And instead of just saying, all right, maybe let's dab it into the gaps and get ones and just see her off, they were trying to play the big shot. That's kind of what happened with Chamari when she got out as well.
You see, I kind of feel with Eccleston, she was just having, I'd imagine, probably the best day of her international career ever, right? Obviously I don't follow them that closely, so I don't know if she's had other better days. But I mean, the pitch was so friendly to her, which is fine. That kind of works our way as well, and it is what it is.
Yeah,
yeah. And I do think that some kind of credit should go to the players who were trying to just go, right, I don't care if this is a maiden over. I think the problem is, though, then it very quickly just slows right. It slows right down. For a lot of that, for not for a lot, till Washington and Hassani, and even while kind of Kavisha was barely there. But for a little bit after that, they left.
Yeah,
we were kind of on the right track, and you kind of felt like maybe that Kavisha and Chamari, and even when they both got out, you thought maybe there might be some hope here, and it just Sophie Eccleston spinned us out of the game today.
Yeah,
kind of. I think one bit of me is like, got to take it on the chin. I think kind of like a lot from it. We said, as Murali End said, coming into this tournament, we were like, the first 3 games, if we can get anything out of them, that'd be good. We got 1 point out of them. I don't know how relevant that will be. In a way, there is a big argument to say the tournament starts now for Sri Lanka.
Well, it's these are the games we could afford to lose. It's not like we lost a game against Pakistan and Bangladesh, and now we're hoping to have to pull off a victory against one of these sides. I think we showed that the gap isn't necessarily as big as we think between these big sides and us. And I think that showed, like, both of these games against India and England, we were in with a shout, and we put enough in our batting to make it look like we were possible to chase it down, right? So if you think 2 of the girls who got 30s go on and get 50s, this is again a different match. So knowing how to stick about in these sort of gripping World Cup encounters, where it's not about going at full leather and scoring 400 runs, but doing what you need to get that precious victory. That's, to me, kind of one of the things that I like to see the team kind of focus on, is how do we convert those starts that a number of the batters got. Chamari, Hassani, even Vishmi, Harshita, they all got, and Nilakshi, they all got starts. They just couldn't convert those into bigger scores, right? I also thought Vishmi looked confident today. I was really bummed when she got out, and Sanuda writes, Vishmi should open the innings. I don't see anywhere she fits other than opening. I mean, I thought it was a good move to put her in at 3 when that early wicket fell, or not early wicket, but when Chamari came off the field. I thought that was a good move, and I thought she was in for a good innings, and she was looking comfortable. But then she got a ripper from Charlie Dean, and nothing she could do about that.
I want to talk about the women's team in general, because I kind of feel that the setup around them might be slightly more advanced than the setup around the men's side at the moment. It's
Mark, could you see from the match the numbers?
Not where I was sitting.
Okay.
I couldn't see it from where I was sitting.
Because I
do know it's happened because I've seen a bit. I saw a bit of it on TV. Right, I've seen it on TV screen, so I know it happened. But I just feel that there's almost like a calmness around the women's side that there maybe isn't around the men's side, and it feels like just seeing the numbers made me think like I have no idea what those numbers mean.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what those numbers mean. I don't think in the short term I will ever find out what those numbers mean.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point when Chamari writes a book, we might find out about it.
You mean the one that Estelle and Chamari are going to co-write together?
Co-write together, yeah. But I just and even with the way I thought they were trying to, what I think they were trying to do against Sophie Eccleston made me think, I can't see the men's side doing that. I don't want to compare the two sides, but it just felt like there was more control over when things go wrong. Like, for example, Vishmi coming in to when, so we have a kind of false nine, right? A false opener type situation. Yeah, the false Chamari, right? And then, so that's why I kind of think they're a little bit more organised. I think our fielding can definitely improve, but I don't think the English team were fielding.
Yeah,
I thought they were worse fielders than we were actually.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting what you said, because I was thinking that too. Like, it reminded me of when the men's team was kind of outperforming what they had, like in terms of the quality of their players, because they had plans, they had talked about it, and it's clear that they really game planned and thought about what are the matchups that we need to look out for. I'm really curious what the numbers mean, because they had like a V and a K, and I'm assuming that has to do with the bowler. But then they had halves and twos and ones, and it reminded me of that. And then again, right, like they have an idea with their batting lineup about how they want to operate, and it doesn't seem, when you look at the side play, like, oh, they're a batter short or they're a bowler short. When they lose, it's for a different reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And so obviously coming into this game, there was a lot of talk about the 2013 win against England in the World Cup, where Chamari basically puts on a one-woman show.
Puts on the cape, right, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And it's an absolutely fantastic moment for Sri Lankan cricket. And I think the piece that Fidel writes for ESPN Cricket Info says that that's kind of almost like the year zero, right? That's the beginning of it, and you can feel like you can track the trajectory of women's cricket in Sri Lanka from that moment, right?
Yep.
Where it's like that happens, and then they go, right, maybe we should start putting something into it, and suddenly the players get paid a little bit more than they were getting paid, and then now we're in a situation where actually we've kind of got a, I'm going to call it a competitive senior side. Yeah. And then we've got youth teams underneath it, and they're slowly but surely building up pathways. It might not be moving as quickly as people want, but I think it's always going to be, in Sri Lanka, everything takes a long time. I've been here a whole week. I can definitely tell you that's still true. Like, these things are going to take a while. It's going to take a while for players to come through as well. But you kind of feel like actually if you take it over a 2 or 3 year cycle, we've moved on quite dramatically, right? Even players who were in and around the side in 2013, who are, their mid to late 30s now, or even in 40, they've improved as players. Yep. Right. And we can see they're improving. We can see the kind of fitness is improving. They're being allowed to be professional sports people. It's interesting to me. So I kind of think like, the thing that we've been waiting for, maybe just me, I don't know, is the big kind of 96 moment, right? Yep. People have said that was the Asia Cup win last year. I think there's something in that. I think though that there is, and in the ground as well, there's loads of little girls wearing shirts for various cricket teams they play for and stuff like that, and just being involved in it. It was really heartwarming to see mums and daughters there, because that's the next generation of kids being inspired. We need to, and it's hard also. The other thing is, it's hard also not to think that this whole thing is built basically off Chamari, right? Of having that kind of one freak superstar that we need has kind of lit the fire underneath it all. And I kind of do think the system is, they're kind of much more pliable to the system. And it is kind of slowly but surely starting to produce a more effective team. I think the one issue is that we're still slightly Sri Lanka cricket, and this is every aspect of it, slightly still behind the eight ball a little bit, right? How many players do we have that can find the boundary? How many players, are we who's our next big team? Sure, there'd be people thinking about this in SLC as well and trying to figure this all out. But you wonder, right? And again, like the other thought I had that I said literally just to my wife moments before we started this, I was like, we're really good at 20 overs. It's beyond that we start to kind of break down a little bit. And again, I think that to me, that to me is just the fitness thing, right? As in, I'm not saying that they're not fit. Don't misunderstand me, but it's like, are they match fit? They didn't play much ODI cricket the last few months. That's borne out again.
And match fitness isn't only, to me, like just physical fitness, but also the mental fitness, to be able to make decisions in the middle, to be able to say, hey, this is the right move. This is how we're going to attack this particular situation. This is how we're going to think about what we're doing, right? Because I think that's where you see the 30s become 60s and 70s, right? That's the difference. Harshita isn't saying, okay, I'm on 38 ball, right? Like I got to play a big shot, or Hassani, right? You've got to turn those into bigger innings, because as we know, the way you win a chase is by taking it deep, right? Especially a chase of 250. We've seen, how many times have we seen Dhoni or Kohli or Sangha or Mahela do that, right? It doesn't look pretty in the beginning, but then at the end of the day, when you just bat it out, right, you pace that innings out. But as Sanuda is saying, right, you can get a positive quality result.
Sanuda says between 11 to 20 we scored 58 or something like that without losing the wicket. There's only 4 wickets fell on the 30 runs. That shows where we really messed up. Absolutely. I think when teams get on top fast, they really get on fast.
Yeah.
I mean, you could cut out most of what we said and play it next time the men's team loses as well, right?
Yeah. It's not that we're not competitive. It's that when things go sideways, we're not good at recovering from those sideways sort of movements. And that's one of the things I was thinking, like Chamari coming in at 5, I was like, oh, maybe this is the right. She could sort of resurrect the innings, right? Add some impetus and help them out, right? Usually, because if Chamari goes and everyone's coming in, there's a possibility that they can pull it together and do something. But Chamari is the one who has shown time and again that she'll stick it out and score the big runs. But I think that's sort of the next step in these. Like, we're still early in the tournament. We have 4 more games, right? And I'd say we need to win at least 3, if not 4 of them to go through.
Probably need to win the 4, right? I'd imagine.
Yeah. So depending on what happens with, let's see, let me bring up the table here.
I'll just while you're looking at that, I'll talk about what happened when Chamari came back in.
Yeah.
Basically, when she in the stadium, there's very little commentary. The only thing you hear, also, it was so loud. The music was so loud. I'm almost deaf. But there's so little commentary, and there's no like ref link or umpires link, right? So when she went down, no one said anything. It looked so dramatic because medical staff run into the pitch. Then she gets carried off, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. She's done. The kind of you and Estelle informed me that it was just cramp, so I was like, that's cool. And then when she came back on, you could feel the anticipation in the stadium. being like, all right, she's got to do something. She's got to do something big.
Yeah, what a story that would have been, huh?
Yeah, that would have been fantastic, innit? Can you imagine? And you're like, Sri Lanka's a magic cricket team. So if it's going to happen to any team, it's going to happen to us, right?
Yeah.
Didn't quite pan off today, but I'm sure she's going to have a moment. I'm sure.
Yeah. And these next two matches are huge for us because of this, right? We've got New Zealand and South Africa on Tuesday and on Friday. So stay tuned. We will be here. We'll be supporting you through that. But South Africa right now is in the 4th spot. And the reason why that 4th spot is weak is because they have a terrible net run rate. Even though they've beaten India and they've got 2 wins, their run rate is minus 0.88, which is a huge number. I think that's one thing we kind of have to hang our hat on. Hope maybe that, if we can beat South Africa, that'll go a long way to that. And then South Africa, I believe, still have to play Australia. So if we win out and South Africa loses to Australia, that puts us in very good position to qualify. But we're going to have to play very good cricket in order to do that.
I believe. I kind of, I kind of came away from it thinking, just feel 90% there. We're 90% there.
Yeah.
Like it, and also I think, sometimes I think that cricket brain is kind of forming. Like you can see them doing smart things on the pitch. That they're being clever about things. I think they're literally playing more straight bats.
Yeah.
Like in a good way, in a positive way. The other thing, every time I see our women's side play, I always think our women's side are so technically correct.
Yeah.
Like when you watch them field, it's like proper long barriers, and like when you watch Harshita or Hassani bat, it's like real proper cricket strokes as well. Hassani does kind of like muscle it a bit, but Harshita and Kavisha are real proper cricketers, aren't they? And Vishmi as well.
Yeah.
It's all real by the book stuff. Anyway, that's by the by. I'm still kind of I'm just in a bit melancholy about the whole thing because I thought today we
were in with the chance. And
the other thing that was tough
was like there was a time where you're thinking to yourself, when I think who was batting with Natsiver Brunt? It was someone, but the thing was they were allowing whoever it was that was not a good batter to take easy singles. Like that was a point which it was frustrating, where it's like, don't let Natsiver Brunt get on strike. Force whoever's there to take a risk and play a big shot, and then see what happens.
I see. I think though they do think like that.
Yeah, I do think they do.
Yeah. I don't think. It's a totally stupid and flippant thing to compare the two sides.
Yeah,
but I think the men's side are slightly more arrogant and think that they can get whoever it is.
I mean that 100% I agree with. Like, and the reason why I can point this out is because this is like a specific thing where I said like, oh, this is something I disagree with, as opposed to there are 10 things that I feel frustrated about and wondering why they're doing. So that to me is the difference. Is like their bowling changes made sense to me. How they shuffle their bowlers, how they use them. I wasn't sitting there thinking, why are they not using this person? Where's the over going to go? All that stuff.
Yeah, it all kind of makes sense, isn't it? Sanuda, I believe that we could defend 50 runs against India in an ODI game, bro. Believing it is in our blood. I think it is. It's because we're the magic team. We're like the world's most magic sports team, right? Whenever you think we're down and out, something always comes off. Something always happens. Think about Dilshan Madishankar. Hat trick. Think about I know that game ended up in a tie, but Patham's
100.
Kind of 100, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about the Asia Cup, the Women's Asia Cup
the men's 24 Asia Cup. No one
Cup.
Yeah.
Don't write us off.
Remember the 2019 World Cup against England?
Hold on. Chatura has written, if there's no more surprises except for Sri Lanka win the next 4 games, Oz 13, England 10, India 9, India 10, SL 9, SAA, NZ 4. Yes, I have no shame. I have no shame.
I have no
This
shame.
is a safe
We're
space
doing the same now.
for all the most optimistic Sri Lanka fans.
And
I mean,
Chatara, I was going to say, hey, Bangladesh and Pakistan might have something to say to South Africa. Hey, if one of those two teams wants to put in a good upset there, we're all for it.
I just have, we talked about this so much coming into this tournament. Why we didn't play any ODIs between May and now, between May and that first game.
No,
you just feel 2 or 3 ODIs and we would be a totally different side.
See, this is the thing, Mark. The brilliant of that strategy was they were going to have India, Australia, and England as their warm-up, right? That was their thought. Okay, we'll play these 3 games. That'll be our warm-up, and we'll be really ready to go by that time. And then we'll smash South Africa, New Zealand, and Pakistan and Bangladesh. That was the theory. And then they've already had a sighter of those other teams that they'll see in the semifinals in the first games, and there'll be a transformed squad because they'll have hit form. Boom. There's your magic.
I mean, it all makes sense to me.
Corner
Absolutely
Tigers.
all makes sense to me. Yeah.
Corner Tigers, 92, right?
Exactly. Should we need to wrap this up, but we finish on this. It's not cricket related at all, but Saduna has said, don't forget about that. SL football is also doing the magic right now. Absolutely. So over on, do you know what? I'm going to plug Football Smash, because on the Football Smash channel,
do you guys cover Sri Lankan football?
Well, we cover world football, right? So, and one of the ideas that's been mooted recently was that the World Cup expands to 64 sides. There's various reasons for it. Why, and some people might say it's a good idea, some people might say it's a bad idea. And I said, not on the show that I'm on, but the show that I was producing, I said, even if the Football World Cup expanded to 200 sides, Sri Lanka still wouldn't make it. And then that became a talking point on the show, accidentally. But now they would, because I believe after our win
they're like
against Turkmenistan,
right?
We're like 196, possibly moving
something
up.
like that. Yeah, they're over 200.
Yeah, so we're in the top 200. Massive big deal. I mean, let's not forget that the UN only acknowledge 196 countries.
Yeah,
in the world,
I was going to say, how are we even not in the top 200? There aren't 200.
So how there is fantasy countries?
I guess England and Wales.
Yeah, it's because the home nations. Yeah. And I think there's a couple of other places as well that have like multiple different like football teams. That's how it all works. So I get it. But I'm absolutely buzzed for it. I was thinking about trying to go to Sri Lanka versus Turkmenistan on Thursday night, but I thought it might be a stretch for my wife to explain why I'm going to watch the 202 ranked world team in the world, especially when I spend a lot of time watching football when we're back home. So we stayed in Habarana instead, but I had a great time.
That was a good move. Good move.
And I'll tell you what, if I will say this now, if Sri Lanka qualify for the Asia Cup, as in the football Asian Cup, I think it's called the Asian Cup, then there definitely will be some Murali End football specials. Like, we'll do some deep dive and analysis into it. Where they get their players from is absolutely incredible. And the best story in it is about the goalkeeper, because he's, I think currently the only. He was till quite recently, unless someone new has come into the side, the only player in the Sri Lankan football 11 who actually plays in Sri Lanka and is from Sri Lanka. Yeah, like fully Sri Lankan, born and raised here. Where almost everyone else is, they might be born here, but they're all plying their trade in other parts of the world and had their football education in other parts of the world. Anyway, Dom, let's leave the football aside. We're talking about New Zealand, because that's the next game on Tuesday. How are we winning that?
I think the key is, how do we handle spin in the middle overs? That's got to be it. Because I feel confident that we can keep New Zealand to, somewhere between 200 and 250 runs. And we have to make sure that we get 200 to 250 runs on the board with Milliker, plying her trade. Leah Tahuhu looking still quite good. That's what we've got to think about, is who's going to put their hand up and say, I'm not going until this match is finished. Who's going to be the Pathum Nissanka? We've heard about how Pathum Nissanka turns into Virat Kohli while he's chasing, according to Jared Kimber. Not my words, his. That's what I want to see. I think the way we win this game is by taking it deep, scoring big runs, having a couple big partnerships. So that's what we need to prioritize, not being happy with 30s and 40s, but getting that big score, hundreds hopefully, but I'll take 60s and 70s.
Dom, there's a ODI series starting between India and Australia very shortly, and in one of the previews to it, you get a little sneak peek into Virat Kohli's bedroom, and on his bedroom wall there's a poster of Pathum Nissanka. I saw it.
Wow.
It's slightly blurred by the camera, but I'm sure Virat Kohli has posters of Pathum Nissanka on his wall.
Yeah, I mean, you know why they blurred it out a little bit, because they were, too much excitement from the fans in Australia if they were to see Pathum Nissanka.
Exactly. Too much going on. Anyway, Dom, should we leave it there?
Yeah.
We'll be back after the game on Tuesday. Hopefully it's better news. I'll be back home.
I was going to say, you'll be back home, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be in my regular pod with my regular pod set up. So you'll see a familiar looking background then. Or probably still the virtual background, because my house is a mess and I've been moving all over the place recently. But I'll try and tidy up before that. We'll be back then. Hit the subscribe and Cricket Smash. I'm sorry this is going to be slightly delayed coming out as an audio podcast, because I'm literally 12 hours to my flight home now. But I will see all you guys soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.
It's the Murali End, you're in a place to be. Analyze the players and the team. Keep a great company in the stream. It's a Murali End. Welcome to the show. We're here when you're high. We're here when you're low. Some days you're happy, some days you wanna when happy it's we, when mad it's them. It's the same place, Murali End. Sri Lanka cricket we go represent. So tell a friend.